Hey there guys, welcome to the next time lapse here on the channel. Welcome to Friday. Hope you guys liked the time trial that I made a few hours ago. A lot of people thought that was the time lapse for today, but no, it might have been similar, but there is going to be a time lapse today, and of course you're watching it right now. Let's see, so I've made Bubbles, I made Buttercup. Guess it's time to make Blossom. She's my least favorite of the three Powerpuff Girls, but I decided it was probably high time to make her in a time lapse here. You can see her there. And both of the other Powerpuff Girl paintings actually made the trip to the Duct Tape Festival with me. I was displaying them over the course of the 3 days out there. And I will be having the Friday video coming pretty soon, so you guys will be able to see all the footage for that. So working on cutting out her outline first is just one big giant sheet of black tape, and I'm going to work on cutting out the outline. I can't really remember the last time I made one of the Powerpuff Girls. I think it was Bubbles, probably close to a couple months ago. It was a while ago, but these images are always kind of hard to make because there's a lot of layering involved. There's a lot of trying to apply all of the different pieces together to make it look really good, and making sure that the black border lines are even all the way around. So I'm going to work on her bows first. These kind of look like her ears, but it's really kind of a bow that she wears. Blossom, if you don't know, is the leader of the Powerpuff Girls. I would rather it be Buttercup, but what are you going to do? So, working on cutting that out now. You can't really tell, but the blade is a little bit dull on this hobby knife, so I'm actually going to be switching it out after I cut out this bow. So it'll be cutting everything out a lot nicer. It's always nice to start a time lapse with a new hobby knife or a new hobby knife blade, because it just cuts through everything much easier. When you get kind of a dull blade, sometimes it cuts through the tape just fine, but sometimes it kind of bunches up on the paper when you're trying to cut through both the paper and the duct tape. And sometimes it's even worse if you're trying to cut through paper, packaging tape, and duct tape underneath. So definitely helps to have a nice hobby knife. So we're on cutting out her hair next. There's a whole bunch of colors. I guess I could have gone with this. There's not really a color that kind of matches it. It's kind of like a goldish orange color. In my small little wallet that I made with Blossom a long time ago, I actually used orange like I did here, and it seemed to work out pretty well. It's kind of bright, but it definitely makes the whole image kind of pop, which is kind of cool. So I'll be applying that towards the top here. This one's kind of difficult just because that part in the center, you kind of have to line this whole thing up. I have used beige for all the faces of all the other Powerpuff Girls, so I decided to make it a little bit consistent and use beige for her face as well. I guess I could have used the pastel pink, but like I said, all the other ones are beige because it hadn't come out yet. So I decided to go with beige for this one as well. Kind of make sure they're all the same. And when you apply them together, they'll all look pretty consistent. So working on cutting out her arms now, or her little like putty hands here. They never really have fingers. So we're on cutting those out. You really can't see it at all, but it's definitely there. And this one will kind of be the guideline there. I'm not going to use the paper image too much now because it's kind of just, as long as you cut it out almost identical like to the piece on the sheet, if you line it up, it'll be perfect. So I'm going to work on cutting out her mouth. That's something I usually don't typically do towards the end, but I decided to do it, right in the middle here. So a little bit of pink tape, a little bit of black tape, that's what's necessary. And then I'll be sticking that right on the center there, right about now. Alright, so now I'm going to start working on her eyes. All the Powerpuff Girls have like a different eye color, and then they have kind of like a little white highlight on the side. That kind of, those kind of go right up against each other, and there's kind of like a swirl with all of them. So you kind of have to, do the borders really nice because they're going to go right up against each other. And the pink color is it's a little darker than the pastel pink. I decided to go with the red because it definitely makes the whole image pop again, but it kind of looks like she has bloodshot eyes, but it doesn't really when you apply the white strip to it. That really helps a lot, that white bar on the side of her eye that you can see there. So going to be sticking this on next, and like I said, it borders it like just right on the edge, and sometimes you can kind of mess around with this and kind of apply a little bit onto the white piece because it's just you can cover up just a little bit as long as there isn't a black line in between. This one's a lot easier. The eye's a lot smaller on the left side, so a lot easier to stick it on there. And her eyes are these two kind of giant circles. So those are all the really complicated parts, and I just have to work on part of her dress here, which is of course the red color again. Then I'll be working on kind of like her stockings, which are white, and that kind of like a little gleam on her shoes, which are those two little dots. And then of course she's got this kind of orange cape, which I'll be using with the neon orange for that as well. And she's the only Powerpuff Girl to have a cape. So I'll be sticking those red parts on there first. I'm transferring all of these to the board just so it's easier for me to, you know, just apply them so you can see them all. Sometimes they get stuck underneath my mat. I kind of have to move the painting every single time I'm trying to, you know, stick them back on. So that gets kind of annoying. So I decided to move them all to the board there. So working on sticking all those on, using the paper image of course, you know, to get an exact idea of where to stick these. It's a little tricky without that orange cape there because that's the biggest piece, and that really is the guideline for everything else that gets stuck down. So cutting this down using a little bit of HD clear packaging tape, and then it's got these little cut marks out of it, and then I'll be cutting that in half, and then to make it a little bit easier to apply, which should be coming pretty soon. So I'll be cutting it in half, and then I'll be applying one part of it at a time. So that's going to pretty much wrap up this video, just applying her cape right there, and then that will be it. So hope you guys liked it, and I'll catch you guys next on the channel pretty soon. The Friday video for the festival will be coming pretty soon, so watch out for that, and hope you like this time lapse on Blossom. Catch you next time.